Hey everybody, this is a video that's been a long time coming. Genshin Impact has been feeling pretty stale for me for quite a while now, and I thought I'd give you my thoughts on why I think that is, at least for me. Maybe a lot of veteran players can relate to what I'm gonna say, but other than that, let's just get into it. I think there are three core things that have made Genshin feel extremely stale over the past 2 years, and that is lack of meaningful endgame. That is like the biggest one for me. The only endgame in Genshin currently is the Abyss, and the Abyss has been in the game since launch. It was notoriously difficult back then because we didn't have like a lot of characters to pull from, but now it's kind of 50-50 depending on what characters you have and how built they are. Were you lucky on your artifacts? And trust me, we're going to get into artifacts later. So the fact that we've only had the Abyss as an endgame activity for this long is just so soul crushing. You could make the argument that the events are kind of like an end game in a sense, but man, they have recycled all of these events like over and over again to nauseum. I will say that there are some good events, but they're usually the lengthier ones, more involved ones. They actually have somewhat of a story to them, and they involve characters that we love. But we get like 2 to 3 of those events like every year, so I don't really lump in events as like meaningful endgame. I guess like other endgame could include like just doing like side quests and stuff like that you haven't done if you've gone through all the Archon stuff. But the side quests are typically in 1 or 2 camps. On one side, there's like 3 side quests in Inazuma that relate to like changing the terrain, or you have some sort of influence over the landscape in some way, which is actually interesting. But there are only 3 of those quests in Inazuma, and there's like a ton more that are just like filler, boring, mundane nonsense. And I mean, that goes for a lot of the quests in the game. When I first started, I read every character dialogue, I watched all the cutscenes and everything, but now as time has gone on, I've kind of just gotten over it, and I'm just like, let's get to the point. This is just for primos anyway. There's so many memes of people just clicking through dialogue boxes, like just like speed running to get through to the end, to get to the primos and the rewards, and like I can relate so heavily to that, and I know so many of my friends do that now after playing for so long. So number 2 is artifacts. To nobody's surprise, artifacts are the most painful thing to grind in Genshin Impact. It's just so insufferable to roll into defense like 5 times in a roll. It is the most disheartening thing in the world. You can get away with bad artifacts, but after a certain point in the game, you're definitely going to need to start worrying about them more, and you might even hit a wall in like story content or something. Maybe, I don't know. Remember back in the day, me and my buddy were grinding artifacts for Klee in the Witches domain, and to this day, I still do not have a good Witches artifact set, period. Like 2 years, and like that first year, that's all we grinded. We grinded that set forever. And the thing that sucked was we didn't have good artifacts on our characters when we were going through it, so it was extremely brutal to get through, and then just to get bad artifacts when we need good artifacts so we can start going through the harder content a little bit easier. And it's such a slow incremental like crawl of progress per one character. Or you can be smart about it and like hit certain artifact domains that are going to be beneficial to like more of your supports, maybe long term or something. Even then, it still takes a long time to get the artifacts that you want. Now, to tie this into the whole Abyss thing, you don't have to have perfect artifacts. You just need perfect artifacts if you want to do the Abyss. And you're gonna want to do the Abyss because it's a way to squeeze out some more primos. But in my opinion, the Abyss doesn't really matter. I think a lot of free-to-play people will be drawn to it because you can get free primo gems, but you can only get 600 inside of the Abyss if you're doing it perfect, which you probably won't do it perfect. 600, for example, is probably like 3.5 rolls. Each floor gives you like 150, which isn't even a roll. Let's say the average Genshin player wants to get through just 9, 10, and 11. Let's say you do it perfectly. That's like 450 primos. which boils down to about 2 holes. And if you're being honest with yourself, that's 2 blues. And that's every 2 weeks of doing the Abyss. You get like 2 blues if you're not even engaging with the last floor. So the third thing is exploration. I think exploration is really fun when you first start playing, but as time goes on, you kind of realize it's just kind of a primo farm, and it's like you just get pennies every time you open a chest. Now with Dragonspine as an outlier, I'm pretty sure that they involved weapons. I think they had a weapon quest, and I think that there was a weapon in the open world on Dragonspine that you could get, the Claymore, which is actually pretty good on Eula, by the way, if you have Eula. It's free to get. I thought they were going to do a lot more of that moving forward, where they were going to put weapons in the environment for you to find. I really liked that about it. Even that 3-star sword that you find on the islands in Liyue, I thought was really cool. Instead, with Inazuma, at least, the bow was incredibly hard to get. You had to like collect seashells for like weeks just to like get a random chance at the bow schematic, which you would still like need all the materials to create. They basically put a gacha system in a gacha game for a free weapon. So I don't think they've really lived up to what my expectations were when Dragonspine came out, and kind of how great it was. It was that Dragonspine was just such a great time in Genshin. Alright, to wrap this up and end on a sort of good note, I will talk about the one thing I love about Genshin: the gameplay. The gameplay is so solid. It's like a combination of Nier Automata and Souls in a way, but they have that extra like layer of the elemental reaction gameplay. Like, that system is so cool, and I love that like you can like make different team comps, like just so many different team comps, especially if you have a lot of characters. But yeah, that little element of strategy of like how you want to set up your team to like rotate through them to get the most out of your reactions that you're popping off, and like the bursts look so stylish and pretty, like the animations are amazing. It's just got a lot going for it, and I guess unfortunately it's a gacha game, and it's like rated 12+, so I don't think they're gonna go too crazy with it beyond what it is already. I mean, that's for maybe their later games, I don't know. Well, that's really it. That's all I have to say about it. Are you enjoying the game still, or are you not enjoying the game as much as you did at launch? Let me know down in the comments, and give me a like and subscribe to me if you want more content. I will probably be putting out a lot more Elden Ring content in the future, because I'm just really hooked on that game and I want to make videos for it. So stay tuned for that.